Hello, welcome to Atrocious Gameplay. Now, if you're just joining us, this is going to be kind of a Saturday thing for the next couple weeks where I dive into the Players' Cup, as you probably assume through like the title and the thumbnail and all that stuff. I've been doing the Player Cup, and although I've had only a brief start in the Players' Cup, I have played a couple tournaments, and I've kind of gotten an eye-opening, and so every Saturday is going to kind of be an update about where I am, what I'm facing, what I'm seeing through the meta, things like that. So hopefully this will be very good for all of you, for not only your Players' Cup adventure as well, if you're kind of taking it a little bit slower like I am, especially in the very beginning. But I hope you enjoy this video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and then also go check us out on Twitch. Twitch.tv/atrociousgameplay. We play the Players' Cup on stream. We also do a lot of other fun things, especially like in the Sword and Shield video game and stuff. So it's always a grand time. I appreciate everybody in support, especially throughout this week, because we had a pretty crazy week. We had a pretty good week. It was pretty busy. So I appreciate everything. But I know what you're here for. Let's talk about the Players' Cup. So I, as of right now, have only been able to play in 5 tournaments as of right now. Now, a lot of you may think, 5 tournaments, like this guy's barely like played at all. What the heck? Like there's 50 events in the first week and he only got 5 tournaments in. I was pretty busy this week. I had a lot of stuff with my full-time job come up and things like that, but it ended up kind of working out. I'll try to play a little bit more this weekend because as this video's come out, I have actually traveled home to be with family. So I had to prepare this video on Friday after stream so then I could put it out on Saturday. But anyways, I've played a couple games, and I originally didn't want to post this video or make this video because it was only 5 tournaments. But what I found was very interesting. And then I started talking to a couple people about like what I could do better and things like that, and like possibly maybe what I could do differently. And it's kind of eye-opening from what I originally thought. If you checked out our previous YouTube video with like your safe picks for the Players' Cup about what you can do in the tournament. So I think this video is going to provide a lot of value, even though it is kind of a small sample size. And so here we go. As I mentioned, Players' Cup 2, small sample size. Again, only 5 tournaments. And in those 5 tournaments, I decided to stay consistent, pick the same deck over and over, and it was Eternatus. Now, what you're seeing right here is the round 1 results of each of those tournaments. You look at this, Golisopod, L, Mad Party, L. Got to win versus a Centiskorch. That was a close game, though. Sandaconda, L, Centiskorch, L. It's very, very interesting, but I think something that's good to know is at the 3rd tournament, when I beat the first round against the Centiskorch, faced up against a Pikarom, took a W. That one was actually kind of easy. I don't know what my opponent was doing in that game. And then ADPZ as well, that one, it was weird. They were attaching like water energies to Zashi, and I have no idea what was going on, but we ended up taking a win. So it was really either get bounced right away in the first round or win the entire thing to get points. So I only have about 5 points to my name right now as it is, but again, it's really early. You know, I'm still a 1-to-1 ratio, which is pretty fine for starting off. Pretty gross looking, as I would say. But one thing that was really eye-opening for me looking at these results and playing through these first 5 games is that Eternatus is not really as safe as I thought. To my mind, I talked about this with some people. The Players' Cup, there's a lot of people that don't really care in terms of like, I don't want to play ADPZ. I don't want to play Eternatus. I don't want to play Pikarom. I don't want to play Centiskorch. I just want to play the fun stuff like Mad Party, like Golisopod up there, that just want to have fun, have an experience. And you know what? If you make top 256, you make top 256. Like, sure. Again, with playing Centiskorch, I figure that Centiskorch is a little bit easier to counter. Like, Centiskorch does well against those decks like Pikarom, ADPZ. It kind of holds its own against Centiskorch if you're kind of ready for it. I'm playing a little bit more aggressive of a build to put down damage counters a lot faster with like Scoop Up Nets and the Galarian Bro that has the poison damage. So I'm playing a little bit of a more aggressive build of Eternatus. So the Centiskorch is somewhat a little bit more even, especially if you're playing your cards right. But look at this, like Sandaconda here. Sandaconda, a deck that doesn't do well in the meta. We've seen it time and time again. It really only does well when ADP is banned. That's really all when it does well. Mad Party. It also won a non-ADP tournament, an ADP tournament that got banned, and it struggles to do really anything else in tournaments outside of like ADP bans. So the thing is with Eternatus, I don't really know if it's a safe pick. Maybe I just got super unlucky during this time of day. Maybe during the time of day of like, I don't know, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern time. There's just a lot of people playing some whack stuff. But I sat down and thought about it, and I was like, man, you could just counter ADPZ. But I'm looking at this list, and I'm like, do these lists really even beat ADP Zacian? And I'm thinking, and I'm like, no, these lists don't really beat ADP Zacian that I'm facing. Like, Glycopod kind of just takes an L to ADP. Mad Party takes an L to ADP. Centiskorch, it's even than these other two matches that I first referenced, but I still think that ADP wins because Centiskorch has to draw with like Dedenes and Crobats and whatnot, and ADP can just knock those out. Boom, boom, boss, win the game. And then Sandaconda, which, as I mentioned earlier, it won a banned ADP tournament. There's a reason for that because ADP wasn't there. So I think there's a vast difference right now between ADP Zacian and Eternatus. There's a vast difference because Eternatus can be countered, can have these like roguelike decks that can be beat. ADP Zacian, even though it doesn't like overwhelmingly beat a lot of tier 1 decks or like a lot of the chunk of the meta, it doesn't like take auto wins to any of that. It not only takes auto wins against a lot of these decks right here that I faced with Eternatus, but it also doesn't really take auto losses to much of anything. It's very, very interesting about how, you know, maybe if I had played ADP Zacian during these games, how the deck would have been differently, whether I play like Clay DP or I play like a little bit more passive of a build of ADP. I think Clay DP is probably one of the better options as of right now. I still think if you go to like the original forms of ADP, I think you could still do very, very well. And then I also thought about like a lot of other archetypes like Control, you know, the decks that I faced against with Control. The only one that really provides too much of an issue is like the Centiskorch matchups, maybe Sandaconda as well, if like you can't trap it or whatever. But like, it was very interesting to play these 5 games, understand this, and be like, you know what, I'm just going to make a video on this because I will acknowledge that last video I said that Eternatus is a safe pick. I mean, again, I would have to play more games with Eternatus to really hammer down whether I take back that or not. But I think that this provides enough valuable information about what I've said about like its matchups and how many decks there are that people could enter that could dominate in Eternatus deck in comparison to dominating an ADP deck as well. So yeah, I will be playing more Players Cup. You will probably see way more than 5 tournaments by the time the next Saturday airs. So I hope you really enjoy this. Again, like, comment, subscribe. Check us out on Twitch. We got a long way to go in the Players Cup, 45 more tournaments, and I hope it goes well. We're going to try our best, but you know what? As long as I continue learning about the meta and continue learning about the card game, I'll be happy whether I make top 256 or not. So, thank you so much for watching. I already said like, comment, subscribe. Anyways, you just have a great day.